gaining popularity. Flutter is a cross-platform UI development framework created by Google. It allows developers to build native-like applications for iOS and Android from a single codebase, using the Dart programming language. Its popularity stems from its fast performance, beautiful UI, and rich ecosystem of packages. Explain the concept of widgets in Flutter. Widgets are the fundamental building blocks of Flutter applications. They represent UI elements and their behavior. Flutter uses a declarative programming paradigm where you describe the desired UI state and the framework takes care of rendering it efficiently. What are the differences between stateful and stateless widgets? Stateful widgets can change their internal state over time. They have a set-state method to trigger a rebuild when their state changes. Stateless widgets do not change their state and are immutable. They are typically used for simple UI elements that don't require dynamic updates. What is the role of the build context in Flutter? The build context provides information about the position of a widget in the widget tree. It is used to access the widget's theme, localization, and other contextual data. How does Flutter achieve high performance? Flutter uses a rendering engine called Skia, which provides direct access to the platform's canvas. This eliminates the need for intermediaries like JavaScript bridges, resulting in faster performance. Flutter also leverages Dart's ahead-of-time compilation, which translates Dart code into native machine code. Flutter UI development explain the concept of a widget tree in Flutter. A widget tree is a hierarchical structure of widgets that represents the UI of a Flutter application. The root widget is typically a Material app or Cupertino app, and other widgets are nested within it. What are the different types of layouts in Flutter? Flutter provides various layout widgets to arrange child widgets on the screen. Common layouts include row, arranges children horizontally. Column, arranges children vertically. Stack, overlays children on top of each other. List view, displays a list of items. Grid view, displays a grid of items. How do you handle state management in Flutter? Flutter offers several state management solutions. Set state, for simple state management within a stateful widget. Provider, a popular state management solution based on dependency injection. Block, a state management pattern inspired by Redux, focusing on unidirectional data flow. RiverPod, a newer state management library built on top of Provider, offering additional features and performance improvements. What is the purpose of the Navigator widget? The Navigator widget is used to manage navigation between different screens or routes in a Flutter application. It allows you to push, pop, and replace routes on a navigation stack. How can you customize the appearance of a Flutter application? You can customize the appearance of a Flutter application using themes. Themes define the overall look and feel of your app, including colors, fonts, and styles. Flutter Advanced Topics explain the concept of reactive programming in Flutter. Flutter's reactive programming model means that the UI automatically updates whenever the underlying data changes. This makes it easier to build dynamic and responsive applications. What is the role of the Future Builder widget? The Future Builder widget is used to build UI based on the result of an asynchronous operation. It allows you to display a loading indicator while the data is being fetched and render the UI once the data is available. How can you optimize Flutter applications for performance? Some performance optimization techniques include using const constructors for immutable widgets, avoiding unnecessary rebuilds by using key properties, using efficient layout widgets, minimizing network calls and data processing. What is the difference between a Material app and a Cupertino app? Material app is used to create Android-style applications, while Cupertino app is used to create iOS-style applications. They provide different default themes and widgets to match the respective platform's design guidelines. How can you integrate third-party libraries and packages into a Flutter project? Flutter has a rich ecosystem of packages available through the repository. You can add packages to your project using the pubspec.yaml file and the Flutter pub-get command. Flutter testing. What are the different types of tests in Flutter? Flutter supports unit tests, widget tests, and integration tests. Unit tests test individual functions or methods. Widget tests test the behavior of widgets. Integration tests test the end-to-end functionality of an application. How can you write unit tests for Flutter code? You can use the test package to write unit tests in Flutter. You can create test cases and assert the expected behavior of your code. What is the purpose of the widget tester class? The widget tester class is used to interact with and test widgets in Flutter. It provides methods to pump widgets into the test environment, find widgets, and assert their properties. Flutter deployment. How can you deploy a Flutter application to the App Store and Google Play Store? To deploy a Flutter application, you need to create App Store accounts, configure your project settings, and build release versions of your app. You can then upload the built APK or IPA files to the respective app stores. What are some considerations for deploying a Flutter application to production? Considerations include code quality and testing, performance optimization, App Store guidelines and regulations, continuous integration and delivery pipelines. Flutter best practices. What are some best practices for writing clean and maintainable Flutter code? Best practices include using consistent naming conventions, following Dart's style guide, breaking down complex widgets into smaller, reusable components, using state management effectively, writing comprehensive tests. How can you improve the accessibility of your Flutter applications? You can improve accessibility by using semantic labels for widgets, providing alternative text for images, ensuring proper color contrast, supporting screen readers. What are some common Flutter performance pitfalls to avoid? Common performance pitfalls include overusing setState unnecessarily, using inefficient layout widgets, performing expensive operations on the UI thread, not optimizing images and assets. How can you stay up to date with the latest Flutter developments? You can stay up to date by following Flutter's official blog and documentation, participating in the Flutter community on forums and social media, attending Flutter conferences and meetups. What are some future trends and possibilities for Flutter development? Future trends include improved performance and tooling, expanded support for additional platforms, integration with emerging technologies,